going to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's going to be biblical.
Hello everyone, welcome to Patriots Across the Pond and friends. I am going to stop saying that at the start of our shows, Patriots Across the Pond and friends, because we always have friends on. So after we had Monday Respect, Thursday Thunder, a little bit of deeper dives on Friday, we decided to rename our Tuesday show to Tinfoil Tuesday. Now, we were going to have Mark Atwood on last week for the first episode of Tinfoil Tuesday. It's actually episode 67, but of and friends. But yeah, Tinfoil Tuesday, it's going to be going forward. So we've got a returning guest now, and backed by popular demand as well, because we had a lot of positive feedback when you were on with us first time, Brian. And so much so that Friday's going forward on the opposite week to Jason. Brian's going to start on September the 4th, I think, and do a fortnightly appearance on our show. So, Brian, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing, Stu? How you doing, Elisa?
Great.
Thanks for having me back. I guess I didn't freak you guys out too much on the first one.
No, we were loving it. I mean, you know, I'm right into all that stuff. One of my major beliefs in all this has always been, and you know, I don't put a hope in or anything, I want to see JFK Jr. and Trump together at some stage telling the world about Q. That would be my absolute dream.
And you'll see Senior as well, and Patrick. Let's not forget about Patrick and the significance of Patrick. You know, like we talked about on the last podcast, you know, I'm not esoterically into a lot of that information, but I do know, you know, billionaires follow the universe, right? You know that phrase. You know, by Patrick's birthday and the alignment on all the different calendars, which I'm not going to get into all that because it takes a lot of time, but you could, actually, I should have said this to begin with. I've launched my new website, which I've been working on, and it's called thedrewsbloodline.com. So I suggest everybody check that website out. There's a lot of information in there. There's a lot of links to other people's information that I've kind of sourced in there that I agree with. Some of it, you know, is all, it's all whatever resonates with you. Let's put it that way. But there's a lot of good information in there.
Brian, is it the drewsbloodline.com?
No, it's just drewsbloodline.com. Amazingly enough, when I went for that domain, it was available, which is kind of surprising, but I'm thankful it was.
And that's your website, yeah?
Yeah, that's it right there. And if you scroll all the way down, just go ahead and scroll all the way down, Stu. To the bottom, you'll see, I think, okay, go up a little bit. Okay, yeah, there you go. That's our first podcast. Now go all the way up to the top and click on the menu, the three little tab menu.
Where is it?
Oh, we don't have three dots on a laptop, so
right.
It's just across. Yeah.
Okay, so you got your categories across, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can click on. You'll see there's one there for podcasts. There's one there for pictures, social media, podcasts and conversations. So you'll see that was our first one there. And then there's one for upcoming events.
Yeah, I can't see that.
Can't
Oh,
see
events.
that. Yeah, there you go. I'm still working on this website, by the way. So it's a lot of work, but it's come along really. I'm happy
Looks
with how
great.
it's come along so far.
Oh,
Yeah, so if you go down, scroll down, Stu, it'll show you the Awakening Summit. Gives you all the information about the Awakening Summit. Obviously, I promote what I believe in, so this is really going to be an awesome event. I truly
do you know
believe
what? That is amazing. I'm going to bookmark this tab straight away, and then I shall bring that to the top and have a look at that later. But
and,
yeah,
and then you can click on photos in there too, and it's just some memorable moments of mine throughout this journey
Wow.
with Negative 48, and just some fun moments and some really impactful moments that will be, in the grains of history forever. Like I said in our first show, you got the Old Testament and the New Testament, and in my eyes, we're living through the final testament. And the Bible is the true Bible, and true God's word is organic. It never stops. So I truly believe that all of us, when General Flynn says that we're digital soldiers, I'm not sure that everybody understands the significance of that statement. And in the sands of history of saving this country, like Q said, they couldn't do it without us. And like I talked about in the first podcast was, we'll do the heavy lifting for you, and enjoy the show, right? Everybody gets triggered with that statement. But if you take into context all of what we read in the Q drops, enjoy the show means enjoy watching every one of these powerful people fall, whether it's through a resignation or whatever it is, a heart attack or whatever. Just enjoy that part of it, because that Q is doing the heavy lifting for us. But in enjoying the show, become part of the show. Yeah. And in the movie that we're living through, which I believe we are, it's mainly all central casting, be a part of that movie, right? Find your place in that movie and do something to be a part of it. I have locally, as far as waking up people and planting seeds, and as Tracy yells at me sometimes, I'm throwing up on people because I get a little too deep. But anyway, I'm just encouraging people to start just dropping little seeds. So many people, you just can't get through to them. It's sad, but biblically speaking, and in parable form, Noah warned of a storm, right? And people laughed at him
until it started to rain.
And that's what we're doing, right? Think about this. We're all Noah, and we're warning people there's a storm coming. We're in the storm, but it's coming, and it's coming a lot worse. And if you look at the life of Job, he was ridiculed and lost his friends. So if you line all these things up, it really starts to make a whole lot of sense of what we're living through. And if you read about the 7-year tribulation, I think maybe tribulation started in 2020 when publicly Trump lost the election. That'd be a good time for tribulation, right? Because we're sitting there like, I don't have to repeat it all. We know, Lisa, how you felt. I shared how I felt, and it was like, wow, but then you're sitting there watching the inauguration happen on a sunshiny day, and I'm looking at the webcam at work with my iPad in Washington. I'm like, it's cloudy.
Right.
I'm like, what? So it's just crazy. But I say a 7-year tribulation, that would be what, 2021, right? That would be, that would start on in January 2021, January 6th, actually. Interesting date. And what does that bring us to, right? That brings us to 2028. What did Trump just come out and put the 2028 hat on? Well, in gematria, if you stack 2028, the 0 means nothing. So the two twos, you could stack, it becomes 4, and that becomes 48. So that's the 48th president in the year 28, which 28 is junior in gematria. So some interesting numbers that line up. And Q tells us there's a plan after Trump. I'm here to tell you that that's everything that I've coded and everything that when I was with negative 48, everything lines up to that. So I wanted to share something because everybody for years now has been waiting for the tweet. When are we going to get the tweet, right? Q post 44. Go ahead and pull that.
55.
Yeah, but 44, but correct. But 44 tells us, go ahead and pull that meme up that I made there. And 55, just as you know, is JFK Jr.'s 55. So if you keep that in mind, JFK Jr. is 55. And then if you look at this is you can go ahead and read it, Stu, because it's a little small on my screen.
Hold on, I've learned how to do this quite easily now.
Oh, nice.
Oh, there you go. Beautiful. Okay, that had told us before POTUS departs on Friday, he will be sending an important message via Twitter. God bless. Now, if you look at timestamps and date on that Q post, you've got 11/2/2017, right? 3/06/41. All of that equals 28. Those numbers all added up equal 28, which is Junior. If you add 44 to it, it becomes 72. And if you mirror 72, it's 27 in gematria, which is JFK. So then scroll down. If you see when this was posted on Twitter this was on January 6th while the insurrection was happening at the Capitol. My fellow Americans, the storm is upon us. If you go down a little more, Stu, and that was at 7/17, January 6, 2021. So if you go up now a little bit to my math up there, you've got 7 + 1 + 7 + 1 + 6 + 2 + 2 + 1, 27. We already got the storm tweet. So when people talk about waiting on the storm tweet, we already got the storm tweet from John F. Kennedy on January 6th, and we all know what happened on January 6th.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty interesting, now things, right? We hear things happen twice, that they need to happen twice. I'm not saying we're not going to get another storm tweet, but I'm going to tell you officially when that happened on January 6th, that's the original. That is the storm tweet right there.
Yeah. It's very interesting now, isn't it? Because General Flynn's just started posting the storm is upon us. And
Did you see his one this morning? What the flocking flock is going?
Oh yeah. Josh
of all the flock cameras.
Yeah, Josh Reed read it out on Daily.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give this a little time locally if this is some kind of psyop to piss people off with these cameras, but they just put one at the entrance to my neighborhood. And they used like, worm style hose clamps and clamped it to our street sign, which I want to go to the county and say, it's against the law to attach anything to a street sign. Use their own laws against them, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is a psyop, but yeah. So anyway, interesting stuff. And I think that we've seen some things that I think like we talked about in the past is that we see these dates come and go and you can code things and be like, wow, this, that, and the other thing. And then nothing happens, right? Truthfully, I think it is happening. It's just our eyes are getting diverted over here. It's like, are we really in Iran right now? Or are all our ships over there while we clean up the cesspool that's in Israel? We just don't know. And, we do know, as we talked about on the first show there, is that Trump never televised his moves. So, I'm going to bomb Iran by Thursday if they don't come to an agreement. Come on, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He already told us he's not going to do that, so it's for the normies. And I just see a lot of people falling off, which is.
I say this to people all the time, Brian, the fact that people that have been following me, following Q, and all these sorts of things, and we shouldn't just follow people, don't worship all gods, we'll use our discernment, but anyone that's been paying attention, let me put it a better way, for last years, and you see people moving to the side and falling off. I forgot my point now. completely gone off a tangent.
Yeah,
What did you just say before?
People falling off the, joining the TDS train.
Yeah. What did you just say before that? Your comment.
He said that people are falling off. He sees people falling off all the time.
It's just crazy to see people, turning their back on Trump. I think some of them are bots that are psyops, but there is obviously a fraction of the truther movement that is getting pissed off and saying, this is taking so long and we're getting jerked around and the can's getting kicked down the road. And, I encourage you, go to my website and do some research, because this war started before Jesus was nailed on a cross, and it intensified by evil when he was. But we all know how that story ended. So this has been going on for thousands of years. I mean, I don't even, we had talked, and I had told you that my belief is that the millennial reign of Christ already happened. Okay, because we talked about that. Let's touch on it briefly. Is that every eye will see him in the clouds. Now, was there a Palladian situation there? I don't know, but I do know that it would make a lot of sense for all the orphan trains, and they took the children's parents away. They put them in insane asylums. Look at the insane asylums they had back then. A lot of us forget that they were jam-packed with people that were us.
Yeah.
They were us of that year, like of that timeline in history. Those people were us. And if Hillary would have got in, we would have been those people. So when you look at that and you think about, maybe everybody did see Christ again, right? And it does say in the short season that I talked about that Christ will be on the earth while this happens. And at the end of the 1,000 years of peace is when it says that Satan is released, right? He's released from hell, and he's released from hell to rain havoc on the world. Well, if you look at the Statue of Liberty, first off, it's a dude. There's a Masonic temple underneath the Statue of Liberty, and the chain on the leg of the Statue of Liberty, they try to convince us that that's breaking free and freedom. That's bullshit, is what that is. Because what that's signifying is that Satan was unbound. He was released. So that's their statue to throw it in our face, that Lucifer or Satan, however you want, whatever the devil, let's just call it that, want to look at, was released and has been playing havoc on the world, like while they do sacrifices in the Masonic temple underneath the Statue of Liberty. So it's just like, man, everything is so upside down, and everything, we heard early on that good is going to use all of evil's things against them, and symbolism will be their downfall, and all these phrases that we kind of just took as like our normal day truth or lingo, right? And we kind of spread with each other on different Telegram channels and chats and whatever else. But, it's real. It's really real. And I do believe that is signifying, the Statue of Liberty is signifying that Satan was released. Now, if my, research that it is true on what I've researched, and I believe it is, I've drawn a line in the sand, just by my experiences and my journey and my dates that all line up with people that are in the Druze bloodline, which is totally crazy. And I don't put myself on a pedestal. Please don't anybody take this wrong, but it's an encouragement to like go back and maybe code some of your stuff, code your birthday, and think real hard in your past. And, I grew up, stuff I didn't add last time. I grew up, my house number was 18. R is 18, Junior's 18. It's like, whoa, there's just another coincidence, right? My birthday is the 18th, there's some significant things that have happened on June 18th. So I just say that, like, really, if, I believe reincarnation is real. Okay. I absolutely believe it. Everybody has the right to their own beliefs on that. But I believe that it is real. And I believe that there's many people that are in this movement because of that, right? Mm-hmm. Because we were, I don't know that we were chosen. I think we were given the opportunity to choose. And eternally speaking, in heavenly realms, we were the ones that said, we're going to come back and we're going to kick some ass, right? We're going to beat some ass this time, and we're going to take heaven on earth. We're going to bring heaven to earth and take the earth back. And that, truthfully, I don't know who I am. Who are you, Stu? Who are you, Elisa? But you're fighting in this battle. So there's something different. There's something not putting us above anybody else in the population. That's not what I'm trying to do. Just because MK Ultra is that real, for some reason we were able to break that, right? We're still MK Ultra, right? There's still stuff that's going on that's affecting all of us on a mental and spiritual level. But what I mean by it is that there's something different, right? There's some way, there's some way we found the key to undo the chain, to get out of the matrix and free ourselves, just by freeing our mind, right? It wasn't all, like, I can tell you, it wasn't like me decalcifying my pineal gland, because through this movement and through the years, I've learned more and more on that, right? So what was the initial thing? I think it has to be divine. It's a divine guidance, and then maybe an assisted good AI algorithm or something that grouped us all on Parler, or whether it was Telegram or Cloud Hub, wherever it all started, right? And we remember Whiplash, we remember MJ Ultra, and we remember there's just key figures that I think are very important in this movement. Like as well, a lot of people that are on Telegram channels that run these channels are indeed people that are in the Gone with the Wind program. And that is true, and the witness protection, because I wouldn't have a conversation with anybody in a debate about this unless you were in Dallas when I was there. Then I would openly debate somebody on any podcast. But if you weren't there, then it's a senseless debate, because you didn't experience what I experienced. And the unique thing about that is I didn't experience what some other people that were there experienced. But I mean, too many things to be a coincidence. I mean, I'll tell you a quick fun thing was, we all got together and went to the Rolling Stones concert and watched Michael Jackson play Mick Jagger at the Rolling Stones concert in Dallas when we were there. I believe Elvis was on the keyboard, and JFK Sr. was big ears standing there with the guitar. I mean, that's how crazy this is. And I'm not telling you something. It's hard because people think, they want to Baker Act me, right? And locally, like if I try and talk to anybody about any of this kind of stuff, but I was there, I lived it, right? Before
Brian, can I just ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Because I think the average person would say you're crazy, because what we have learned growing up is like you get to a certain age and then you die. So how are these people that chronologically doesn't make sense that they're still alive? How are they still alive from our, like, what we've been programmed to think? Because obviously we're supposed to live long time if we were
hundreds of years.
Right. If we were freed in our,
I mean, God told us that we're wonderfully made in his image. And if we're wonderfully made in his image and God is eternal forever, I truly believe hundreds of years. I believe that, a lizard can regrow its tail, but we can't regrow a finger if it's chopped off. And we are such a divine piece of God's work that it's crazy. But there's a couple of things to that, Elisa. One is something that I really thought about, is that I truly believe, like JFK himself and Junior have kept their bodies pure, very careful on what they eat, and like not drinking alcohol and stuff like that, to the fact that they also knew and probably had done research that we could have done. So people are like, oh, they knew this and hid this from us. No, there's so much stuff that you can dig so deep, and you can find the frequency healing. You can find out about the Rife machine. You can find out about you can read the Tesla files, not all of them, obviously, but these people knew this. This was their arsenal to take down the cabal. So whether it was a med bed these people went into or what, I can't answer that. I don't know. But I do think that in keeping themselves healthy and utilizing maybe some frequency healing and stuff that was banned from ever seeing the public eye, that they have. And I also believe on the JFK thing, that it was divine, that he was dead and that God rose him again. I'll stand firm on that. When this whole movie's over, if we ever learn the truth behind that, I'll stand there and people can throw mud pies in my face all day long. I'll be okay with that. But I'm not going to accept any other theory as far as clones or body doubles. Unique conversation. I didn't get too in deep with him. I was in Orlando with Michael Jaco this past weekend at an event, and then we went to dinner and we were talking. Unfortunately, I couldn't really get to an intimate conversation enough with him, but I will. But I just couldn't then. And he talked about his life being restored through Archangel Michael. And if the people that listen to Negative 48, man, I can't stress to you people enough. We're not to worship anybody. And I told him that when I was in Dallas. I don't worship you. Like, I don't worship anybody. Jesus, I consider my personal savior. But even Jesus said, don't worship me. Do as I do. But he always told us that Archangel Michael brought JFK back to life. That's a mind-splitting thing for people to really wrap their heads around. And then you do gematria on a lot of that, and I don't even have that in front of me, that he did and shared with us. There's a God component, and Q tells us it's going to be biblical. So, if he was brought back to life, that's a resurrection, and early on, we know Jesus died and was resurrected 3 days later. But early on in this way before this movement, Negative 48 posted the book JFK 4 Dark Days on Twitter, when it was Twitter. And Donald Trump, not President Trump, Donald Trump retweeted that book. He retweeted that tweet that Negative 48 tweeted. So, 3 days and then 4 days. I mean, I don't know. Also in a lot of the beliefs of Druze, they believe that the soul hovers around the body for 40 days, that the soul does not ascend immediately. I'm a mechanic, I'm a technician. So a lot of the stuff that I think about is like when someone brings a vehicle into me, like, why did it break? We can replace the broken part and you're on your way, but is there something else we could do to prevent it from breaking again? Right. That's like in my business, we call like a parts replacer or a technician, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of like even a good, maybe homeopathic doctor, right? What's creating the problem? Let's try and fix that, because then if we fix the problem, then the problem doesn't come back, right?
Right.
So, I don't know. I don't know how to even go any deeper than that, but there's so much information and disinformation out there. I really everybody has to pick a lane, and like Negative 48 would say all the time. He'd say, I chose my hill to die on, right? And then he died on a hill on a motorbike that he was nowhere near in shape to ride. So that was an exit, obviously, of a character. But I truly believe that when Q says it's going to be biblical, that on that context, in my faith and my belief, and some people don't believe in Jesus, and I'm sorry, but if I'm right, or if I'm wrong, I got nothing to lose. So people really need to spiritually align themselves. It says the military will be the saviors of mankind. They're saving the planet. So in all essence, yeah, right, the good portion of our military. But, spiritually speaking, you got to really get in tune with God. I wake up a lot of mornings and I wish I could remember my dreams, right? That's one digital AI device. I wish I could put a helmet on and plug it into like something offline, like just a little notepad or whatever, and record your dreams, right? because, man, I wake up with some really crazy thoughts that come to me. Like, why did I wake up thinking about this? Like, for the first 2 hours of the day, I'm like, man, like I woke up a long time ago. Canaanites, right? The Canaanites were on my mind. Like, because people, we know the Bible has been distorted through, I truly think mostly through different versions of the Bible, because when you convert them, you can lose and still not be doing something wrong and still putting the truth in people's faces like these psychopaths like to do. But if you look at the biblical story, right, scripture, so a script, right, and we're living through a movie, which is a script. You have a script for a movie. So the movie we're living through is based on the script, right? It has a script, and the script is biblical. So whether events happened already or didn't happen in the biblical stories that we've heard, choose your lane on which story you believe and what's really happening, because the Bible is a story of, and I'm not preaching to you as a pastor, because I'm like so far from a preacher that you could probably get. I'm just sharing with you the truths that I've uncovered, I haven't started a podcast or done it over the years, but I've dug in. I've spent that time to figure out what is really going on, because let me not skip, but on who Q is. Okay, remind me on who Q is. I brought my notepad, but I don't have my pen. I had to sit down.
Well, let me just
Clearwater, by the way, everybody. We're at the place that the event's going to be at. We'll share a little video with you that in a little while. But it's been a crazy morning. I got here, trying to get signed on to the internet 5 minutes before the show. 10 minutes before that, we're at the front desk checking in. But anyway, the Bible is kings fighting for power and stealing each other's gold, and children being sacrificed. Can we agree?
Pretty much.
The biblical story talks about all these things, right? So, like, you try to tell a conservative Christian something like this, and like, you're Satan, you're Lucifer, and you're Hitler all in one in their eyes. Because I tell them, it's like, do you really think that the psychopaths that did all this stuff, that their lineages didn't continue on? Like, do you really think that, oh, it's all good now? Okay, the Bible's over. They printed the final copy and we're all good now. So just sit on your couch and wait for Jesus to fall out of the clouds with an American flag parachute. Like, do you really think that? Do you really think these people for hundreds and thousands of years have had a doctrine of their own to conquer, kill, sacrifice, cannibalism? Cain ate Abel. We're still living through that, right? So early on, like, who is Q? Like, that's what really dug me deep is, being a surviving family of pedophilia and grooming, and probably almost right before trafficking, and my family being completely destroyed. We've recovered, but not completely, as far as my one son. So we pray for that someday. We know God's faithful, and we pray that'll happen someday, but it hasn't right now. So, this is what's been going on. And that's what really got me into this movement, to be clear with everybody, was my wife's health, who used to spend 3 to 4 days in bed and she couldn't move because she had fibromyalgia, or that's what they called it anyway. And it was more like MS. And she literally would do some chores and get the kids this, and then she'd have to lay down for 6 hours because she couldn't move. So I'm like, man, what is going on? So it was the health stuff and the children, two things that completely almost destroyed my life and impacted my life, that brought me into this movement, and we had gone to local churches. So everybody says, the church is bad. That's not true. There's good little hometown churches, some very small amount, that are good little places to go help people. Like Tracy and I, we taught 3rd grade and 4th grade Sunday school. Tell you a quick story. A little girl used to come in a cute little dress every Sunday morning with her pink Bible. And then years later, we go into a restaurant. Oh, no, we met her again somewhere publicly. I can't remember where it was. I'm a waitress at this restaurant. Hi, Mr. Brian, Miss Tracy. And she's hugging us. Will you come in? So we did. We went and had breakfast there. And it's like, wow, you look at that. So it's an encouraging story for everybody. Like, just be that difference in someone's life. And we want to throw up on people, right? But you got to step back a little bit and just share some of God's love, because God is a God of love. And, anyway, about the Bible, it's just, and they're still here, or they were. And the Canaanites, I believe it's the Canaanites mainly, right? And all those, the Pharisees and those bloodlines. So, I say to people, even in this movement that are getting weary, is that what has been fighting for all these years to hold this off, to hold evil off? Because if everybody was evil, even in the CIA and everywhere else, we'd be screwed. We'd be skeletons right now in those plastic FEMA coffins, right? We would be. That's where we would be, like we talked about at the beginning of the show. So there has to be a good force that's been fighting behind the scenes, even militarily, because we know many of our military generals and admirals were sold out, and I believe they're the ones that really need to be hung publicly. And hats off to everybody else, and I salute everybody else in the military who held their oaths. So I'm not badgering the military in any way, because I'm very grateful for them for saving our asses right now. But they're saving our asses because God's helping them, because they've sworn an oath, right, to God to protect us against enemies, foreign and domestic. But there has to be something good that's been fighting this off, and then Q comes along, and then -48 comes along, and why did I start hearing from this guy all of a sudden in my feed right when he first came out, and holy crap. And so that's what inspired me to dig deeper into the Druze bloodline, because like I said in the first show, if somebody thinks that, I believe that Jesus is the physical manifestation of God on earth, that God would send his only son in physical form and not want to have children to seed the earth. That would be like, I don't know how to explain that. That'd be like, okay, there's a cruise ship sinking out in the middle of the ocean. Let's drop them a baby's life preserver and everybody should be okay, right? It's not possible. There's no way that he wouldn't have had children. And that what we talked about, Elisa, and you have some knowledge with Mary Magdalene, and the Order of the Blue Rose, and you take all those things into consideration. So that's what inspired me to dig deeper into the Druze ethnicity and their culture and what they believe in. And, like the mechanical thing I talked about, they believe in reincarnation. We touched on that, where the soul hovers for 40 days. The soul is energy. That's your currency. That's your energy. So, when a battery dies, I know, and like a car battery, it doesn't just discharge completely. Now, yeah, enough to where you can't start your car and you think it did, but it didn't. It still has a few volts in it, not 12 volts. So you have a discharge, right? It's like a capacitor, and it slowly bleeds that energy. There's nothing that takes energy in retrospect to that just completely gone, shuts it off, unless it's like maybe an atomic bomb. Okay. I don't know. I'm not into that kind of crap, thankfully. But what I mean is it's a slow decrease in energy. And if our souls are made up of energy, like I believe they are, that would make sense. Then the soul goes wherever you want to think it went. But I do believe in reincarnation. I believe that a lot of us, wouldn't it be some shit if we really learned who we were in a past life? Pretty crazy for you. When we went to Dallas, I chose to stay at the Hyatt. Just as you know, the license plate decode I did on the first show with you guys, the 300 was the address. That's why I wanted to stay there. A lot of people stayed, and I can't remember the name of the hotel, down the street. And we went in that hotel, and there was some really freaky shit. Like a large group of us that were there went in, and they had pictures of these people from I don't know if it was the 1700s or what it was. And there was 6 or 7 of us that these people looked like they were us in this hotel in Dallas. Now, again, I'm telling the truth. Okay. Truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God. So it just really brings into question is who are we? Who are we? I guess what we got to focus on is that God is a God of love. We are to treat people that way. And I know you want to like smack some people, right? Because they just won't listen to what you have to say. And unfortunately, a lot of them, you know, if beds don't come out pretty soon or some really rapid healing, a lot of the people that were the first comers of the vaccine, they're not going to be here with us anymore. But eternally speaking, I don't know what that looks like. Reincarnation, souls. So, you know, different dimensions and things in communication. Like, you know, the guy, one of the lieutenants or whatever he was from Space Force comes out and says, we have the technology to bend time and travel anywhere on the planet in less than an hour. Like, these are the nuggets they're giving us, like right in the mainstream, right? And people just aren't picking up on them. But, you know, I can't stress enough to the term biblical, right? And who would be heading this off, right? So as I dug deeper and I listened to Negative 48 and I did codings and this and that, and I'm like, Q, who is Q? What is Q? And then you get to the Q gospel, right? Jesus wrote that book. Or most of that information was written by Jesus. So, JFK, I just can't say. I don't know. I can't stress to people that the guy with the blue hat, people, Russell Pritchett, was it, or whatever? That's not him. You want to see JFK in one of his roles? Go to YouTube. Or actually, you could just go to the D-Day celebration that happened in France, and Ray Lambert, a ray of light, Ray Lambert, that's JFK. That's John Calhoun. He's still with us. Yes, he's still with us. And if you even look at some of the people that served in World War II in a higher category, because unfortunately, those are the only names that you're going to find. There's some that are still alive, 117, 111, 100. So, you know, I guess if you don't want to believe me on that, then we'll have to wait and see. But I had enough confirmation when I was with, when I was with Negative 48, who was multiple people, and we'll just leave it at that. And I don't want to keep rattling on. You guys have stuff you want to ask me, or?
Oh, yeah, I was waiting to get a word in. Fine. No, that's good.
Sorry. It took me off, you know.
No, it's great. I tried a couple of times, but you carried on. No, I just want to say very quickly that because you said in the first show, didn't you, that the white hats don't use clones, and which is it was very interesting to hear that, and I can believe that because the white hats are benevolent, aren't they? They don't fuck about.
That's correct.
It's the other
side.
They
don't create synthetic life.
Right.
No. And also, when you use gematria, you only use simple gematria, don't you?
Yes, but
I use 1, B is 2, C is 3, etc. Yeah,
that's what I use. I do look at other forms as well, but the basis and foundation is just simple gematria because that's what Q Post 40 told us. ABC, right?
Yeah.
4, 10, 20. But the psychopaths have been communicating in all forms of gematria. Like, you know, if you ever, I don't know, whoever was blessed enough to hear Negative 48 do the gematria decodes on 9/11, all the numbers make sense. The time the plane hit, the time this was reported, the time that happened, because you had people good underground, right, or hidden, and psychopaths fighting each other. So when the psychopath did something, they made sure they put their signature on it. Does that make sense? So they made sure that it could be proven back to them that they did it. So when people hear that symbolism will be their downfall, we haven't heard the end of gematria yet. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody resurrects and starts teaching all the vertical meat suits in the world about gematria. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because symbolism will be their downfall, has many, many definitions. Being that the psychopaths have used that language to, I mean, even Sandy Hook, I mean, it's endless. It's at Columbine. It's so endless this rotten shit that they've done to us, that they've put their signature on it because they're proud. They're proud to be psychopaths, right?
Yeah.
As well as the white hats are proud to put their fingerprint on what they're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, like, here's one. Let me, because I was listening to I think it was the last show you did with Jason Q, and he brings up some things. Someday maybe we'll do a show with the four of us. I don't know. We'll see. But he brings up some stuff that I'm like, yeah, and I'm like listening to it, and I'm like, I gotta call them and tell them this. Like that kind of feeling is the DJT Columbus Day Parade. Okay, here's a perfect example. And I'm telling you, people, if you think this is all a coincidence, then, I got beachfront property to sell you, in Idaho. So DJT, the Columbus Day Parade, right? And Jason talked about Proclamation 3555, right? Which it's on page 1025 on the 77th register, okay?
That's also an 18 as well, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's an 18, right? Clear as day. Very good, Stu. I just haven't. That's exactly what I was going to say, but I haven't got there yet. That's an 18, but 1025, 0 means nothing.
Yeah.
And 125 is John Kennedy, 125, not for sale, 125. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, that was signed on 9/17/63, which 6 times 3 is 18 as well. So, however, it was the 471st anniversary. Okay. So if you mirror that, it's 174, Michael Protzman, Trust the Plan. This stuff is not all coincidences. This is things throughout history that, call it gematria. It is. It's coding, right? It's signing your autograph for the world to see 60 years down the road or whatever. I mean, who knows, right? We could continue to learn stuff even after final disclosure, because I truly think some things just maybe won't come out, or it'll take a long time for people like us to keep amplifying certain things to wake additional people up. But there'll be enough stuff that comes out that people are going to know who the psychopaths are. But does that make sense? It's the white hats putting their signature on things.
Yeah.
And the black hats doing the same thing.
Yeah. I should ask you 2 quick questions. So in the Q drops, when it said, wait until you find out who you've been speaking to here. Right?
JFK. Not Junior.
JFK. And
not Junior, it's JFK.
Yeah. And so JFK is Q.
Yes.
You say, okay.
And
so
Q plus is Trump, Patton Jr. And I think Q plus is JFK Jr.
Yeah, okay. So because have I discussed the R post with you before? It's that one drop that went on the board and it had a picture of Trump and JFK and it said in 1989 family. Pardon?
The start?
The R post. Do you know what I mean?
I forget which one that is.
I'll show you that in a minute. I've got one very quick question.
Okay.
You were talking about witness protection and stuff. When Kash Patel said, "I'll see you in Valhalla."
Okay.
What was he
my
talking
legal
about?
counsel has advised me to use my Fifth Amendment right and not answer that question. Just messing with you. 111 times. Isn't that funny? Seriously. How many times have you heard 111 times? 111 to start, right? New York to start. Interesting you should ask about Valhalla, because
it also fits in that JFK's executive order. I think that was 11110, wasn't it?
1110, correct. 1111-0, right? Yeah. Which I had told you guys on the last show. People missed that on January 11th this year was 11110, and it was a Sunday. And late in the afternoon, once silver started trading again, it went right to 80.63, and it just sat there, right? So 80.63, 17. So that was our confirmation. Another confirmation that kind of, it's another proof, right? A Q proof. But to your question, kind of sum up your question. You had a couple wrapped up there in one question.
No, that's wrapped up. That was very
okay. Now,
let me just show you this our post. I'll show you very quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, you know this post, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, this was dropped on 4chan. In 1909, it was a picture of JFK Jr. and Trump. In 1909, we lost everything. My father caught on first to the Bilderbergs, then he caught on to NASA.
And then the Greys and NASA.
Where they killed him. I strategically stayed my own death, alive with one person in this world whom I knew was honourable enough to trust, and we began to build the plan. Penance is coming. Regardless of what you think, you are not yet awake. You do not know how deep this goes. If you knew, you could not sleep. Many of you could never go on. You need each other. You need every one of you. Learn to play nice with each other or be left behind. If one stumbles, pick them up. If one asks a question, give them the answer. That is how we grow. There is no more room in the plan for arrogance and self-importance. If you turn one away, you've hurt the plan. If you hurt the plan, you'll be left behind. We are watching. We see it all. There are no secrets. You would never believe files kept on every one of you, for that matter. You'd never believe where they are kept. Prepare for the next phase. Prepare for each other. You are one, and where we go one, we go all. And that was signed by R. It's the only post ever been signed by R, which is 18, potentially JFK Jr.
Yes, for sure. Yep, R is 18, and R comes after Q. Interesting, right? So exactly. R comes after Q, and after the Q operation is completely cleaned up as far as the complete clean house, right? A clean house is important. I think that has a lot to do with, the 2028 Trump hat we saw. It's not a coincidence that 28 is junior, right, in gematria, and 28 is an election. And, I talked about 7 years of tribulation, which I know many people don't want to hear this going into 28. But remember that this is a beginning of time death cult that they're dealing with. Like, holy shit. I mean, just to think about the fact that it's even possible to do it, let alone wanting to rush that plan, right? I don't, like I talked about, like, even George Washington during battle, do you think his soldiers were like, hey guys, you think, by 5 o'clock Friday, is this going to be wrapped up, because I want to go play cards Friday night? No, they just fought and fought and fought and fought and fought. And that's why Trump says, fight, fight, fight. Just keep fighting, because we are defeating the enemy. It's happening. And Elisa, you're wanting your girls to, if you die tomorrow, you want your girls to have a nice place to live in the next 50 years of life that they have, or 60 years, hopefully a couple hundred years, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's an ongoing battle. It's like, people say, when's it going to be over? It's never going to be over, but we're going to have disclosure. We're going to have people understanding who the enemy was, and the enemy's going to be gone, so that if any roots of it start to pop back up, I think people will be more aware of it. But it's going to constantly move on, because then we go into the rebuild phase, right? And then different humanitarian things that are going to be going on, and we get to if each one of us are still here through that process, Lord willing, we get to take part in that. But it's organic, just like I said, like the Old Testament, the New Testament. This is the final testament.
But let me ask you something, Brian. Do you really think it's not never going to be over I don't mean the way everybody's saying, like, oh, when is it going to be over? I mean just in the general scheme, because if we're ascending and our vibration and frequency is getting higher, that lower density psychopath can't
yeah, no, that's what I mean. I probably said that wrong. What I mean is, when you're trying to achieve ultimate love, let me explain it that way.
Yeah,
does
then
love
it's not over
ever
until
end?
you get there.
Does love ever end? Like, oh, I took my wife out to eat Saturday night, and I got her flowers, and I opened the car door for her and closed her car door, right? So I don't have to do anything else, because I met love, right? I met the final crescendo of love. No, that means maybe I should cook her breakfast on Sunday morning too, or whatever that case is. That's about the only thing I cook, by the way, because I destroy anything else other than barbecuing. I like to barbecue, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when I say never over, I mean, strive to love one another and help one another. That's never like this. This is going to be a process of we're going through D class right now. I mean, you got to be deaf, blind, dumb, and stupid. I'm sorry. I hate to call you something bad. If someone is listening to me and doesn't think that there's a massive amount of shit happening. Like if you're looking and paying attention, it's hard to even keep up. You guys agree? Like, there's nothing happening. We heard it was going to be last week, and I was going to take my dinar to the. Oh, and I was supposed to get my email.
No, but that's very different. Like, there's a group. I would break the "when is this going to be over" group into two parts. There's the "when is this going to be over" group that just is concerned about the money and the way of life of financially being set, and then there's the other ones that are not really doing anything. And I don't say that with judgment. I'm just saying you're just waiting. You're not doing something. And those are the ones that tend to be, when is it going to be over? Because they're in like a fear standstill. They're not saying, all right, who cares when it's going to be over, but this is what I could do in the meantime and sort of change the direction of my life and people and inspire people.
Exactly. And here's
the first group annoys me. The second group we have to just keep sending love to because it's there. They're having trouble accessing it.
Yes. So I'm sorry if I spoke a little confusing when I said it's never going to be over. The evil part, right? The disclosure that's going to be done, and then justice is. I mean, if anybody thinks that anybody escapes this, you just read the R post on Q. I didn't know you referred to that as the R post. I didn't know that's what you were talking about, Sue. So I apologize. Absolutely, I know that post. Thankfully, early on, I found that, right, because they're really like, holy crap, like could this be true? Those days. But religion is going to die, and faith is going to fly. -48, I think, was the one that probably coined that phrase way back. I couldn't agree with it more. Religion's going to die and faith is going to fly, because when evil is gone, there's still going to be bad people. Like Trace and I were talking about this on the way here today, because we're in the car for 3.5 hours or so. And it's like evil, bad people are going to exist, right? Maybe, as people bring themselves out of the lower dimension, it's going to be like a gradual incline of those people catching up to the fact that we're to love one another and not like steal an old lady's purse, right?
Right.
But the level of evil is not going to be on this planet with us anymore.
Well, let me just interject.
It's not going to be.
I believe that when it told us in the Q drops that there will come a time when none of them will be able to walk down the street, right?
Correct.
I believe that immensely. And also, I don't think when this positive energy raises and the negative energy declines, that the white hats, we've seen sting operation, and these sealed indictments going up and up and up. But potentially they won't need to go and get all these people, because the vibration will raise so high. These people will not be able to exist, and people will find. You've only got to put a list on the internet of who everyone is, and people will know where they are.
Absolutely. Yeah, because what's funny is, what's crazy is, isn't that how you feel right now? You feel, not now, but like early on, not now, I should not say now, but like 4 years, 5 years ago, right? You felt like that person walking down the street, like, holy shit, you're watching The Matrix, and what the glasses go on and you can see demons, and you're like looking at all these people just walking around in a vertical coma. Yeah. So it's interesting, right? That this whole thing's going to flip. And as more and more people wake up, they're going to be walking around looking at these people like, what the heck is going on? Hey, come on, so reach back and lift up. I'm not talking about evil. I'm talking about the people that just can't see through the TDS. Like we are going to have to reach back and try again, maybe, and help these people. But I believe it. That I agree with that, Stu, with what you said. And also that brings up another thing that we've heard a gazillion times is 3 to 4% is gone forever. But we know, like right here, where we go one, we go all, right? The 3 to 4% is them. You know, and just look at the fact that
4 to 6, I think it is, Brian.
what's that?
4 to 6.
Oh, 4 to 6. Sorry, 4 to 6. You're correct. 4 to 6% lost forever is them, the evil, because they're not.
Yep.
You know, Trump says, "Oh, we're going to open the gates of hell on Iran," right? Now, I know, and I'm pretty sure you guys do, that Iran is ancient Persia. Like,
Yes.
think about all the stuff 107 is taught, and he goes on and on and on and on. I listened to all that years ago. I'm like, what is this guy trying to tell us? Right? So I learned so much about the book of Esther because he spoke about the book of Esther 3 hours, 4 hours,
Yes.
2 hours, just kept speaking about the book of Esther. People like, he's a blowhard and nothing he says ever comes true and bullshit. He spoke about the book of Esther. What's the final stage that we're in right now in Iran? So you gotta, you know, people have to stop with the bullshit and, you know, just stop with the division and saying this person, that person. I've met with Juan. I've been to dinner with Juan. He is like a walking history encyclopedia. I'm not saying every single dotted I of his history is actually correct history, but when, you know, I appreciate that because like my wife says, I tend to throw up on people too. So I'm sorry if I keep talking and you guys want to.
I call it hemorrhaging. Same thing.
Mute my microphone. No, but anyway. But I listen
quickly about Juan is the fact that I can listen to Juan for hours, and I have done like yourself. But Juan is quite easy to put on 1.75 speed because he speaks very gently and slowly. Some people you can speed up a little bit more, and some you can't. But it's all about listening to information. But a lot of people have not got the patience for that. They want a quick fix. They want everything compacted into a 1 minute TikTok video and get all the information. You can't get this information out in that short period of time. And I've listened to Juan a lot. We've had him on our show, and his information is amazing. I think whether he's a general in the military or whatever position he throws, and I know we're seeing videos of Juan now and stuff.
All of us.
And when he goes on, he still shows his boots. I still believe personally that there is 2 Juans out there. So let's see what happens there. But Juan,
you know what, Stu? I will have a conversation with you and Elisa at the summit about that.
Perfect.
All right. I won't speak publicly about it because I'm going to go back to what I learned in the beginning of this movement. And one of the reasons I didn't have a podcast or speak on a real public level until now is Negative 48 always told me it's not our story to tell. Right. And he also said that you will know and you will feel when the time is right.
Yeah.
I'm sure anybody listening to this that used to listen to Michael can remember that. Yeah. Some people, you know, grabbed some of the stuff he said and went and made podcasts and tried to become a fame tree over that. I didn't do that. I did share stuff on Telegram on a smaller level because it was so departmentalized, right? In the Patriot world, it was a community of us that I did share some of that stuff, not all of it, but I'd love to have a conversation with you and Lisa about that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that 107 was pretty much the only person that we were all expecting the military to come in and with Joe Biden's mask off in the inauguration. Juan was the only person that was saying Biden will be inaugurated.
Yep.
Right?
Correct.
Which I think upset and triggered a lot of people.
He did. And
you
know, he even pulled the hidden TDS out of some people that they had stored inside of them that they didn't know about. But you know, relatively speaking about the topics that he's talked about and the time frames. Okay, let's just think of that. He gives us a lot of information that he can. The Q team knows for sure that they had to have different layers of compartmentalization on people that could speak to us, right? They don't want us turning against everybody, right? So there had to be things that leaked out on purpose. But, you know, look at how much he talked about the book of Esther. And that took place in Persia, ancient Persia. And what's going on in Iran right now. So if you took the time to listen to these people like Negative 48, 107. I mean, when we were there in Dallas, 107 was on the phone with us when we were in the Ark. You know, the room we all met in was named the Ark. It was pretty convenient, but he's part of the plan, people. He's part of the plan, and he's a good guy. And there's some bad shit being spread about him right now. And I'm not going to even mention what it's about because it's really nasty. And there's people on Telegram that I actually, I'm like this now on whether I respect them anymore because they're giving that bullshit energy. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
If you believe that about 107, then you might as well get a hold of Elon and see if he can get the boring machine and just drill you a tunnel down maybe 30, 40 yards into the earth and just move there and live there all on your own. That's what I'm going to say to those people, because you are going to destroy a movement. You're going to not destroy it because nothing will stop what's coming, but you're going to make yourself in this movement look like the organ that we all have that our waste comes out of. And I see people doing it, and it's on X right now too. I'm telling you, stop the bullshit, because Juan is not that. No. Okay, I don't want to go any further. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, I don't know the story you're talking about, but
okay, it's a bad story about him of what he could be, and it's not true.
No, we are seeing people reveal themselves. You know, all this confusion putting out there by the Trump administration and stuff, the Q team, is to get people to show their true colors. And
and you know what's funny is -48 did a whole decode, and he would say it multiple times. People are being exposed, right? And he started that long ago. And you know, I would always say that, you know, there's going to be a shortage in this country, and it's going to be of rope, because you know there's another fun subject we could go into. You any other questions about what we talked about so far?
Yeah. Let me just say, Elisa, are you all right? Have you got to get off?
Yeah, I'm taking a little medication this week, and it's just knocking me out, and but I'm going to watch it. I'm just going to get off the camera.
Just mute your screen.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. And hopefully we can help you.
I'll be there. I'm just going to mute a little. Thank you for understanding.
Yes, of course. I hope you feel better, Lisa.
Thank you.
I've been praying for you, by the way.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Power of prayer. Yep.
Yes.
See you in a bit.
All right. So, do you have any other questions about where we've been so far? Or
no. The only thing I've got written down now is that when -48 came on the scene to me, and I've heard loads of negative stuff about -48 as well.
Absolutely.
Talking hard and all this sorts of stuff. I listen to everything. I take it all in.
Trolls
but when Michael Protzman's voice, particularly, especially when there's a few other people. Scott Mackay came in, and what's her name? Bryce, I think. They were all doing shows about the Jesus strand with -48.
Bryce, Sabrina Gal. Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you listen to his voice, you listen to JFK Jr.'s voice, it's uncanny. But also now for me, when Nino has the ghost on, sounds very, very similar to. Now, can you tell me anything about the ghost?
No, I can't. All I can say is that these heroes, many of them are heroes. They're all heroes that are on the right side. Let's face it, but they're around. They're around, and they're in your face. 165. Okay, it's in your face. 165 because it is. So yeah, that's all I can really say on that. But you know what? Pull up. I want to give somebody. I think it was Nani Codes that did this decode. And pull up that one of -48 while we're talking about -48s too.
Bear with me a sec. I just lost the page. Where have I gone? Pictures. There we go. That's the one.
Because this one's amazing.
There we go.
There's a lot of credit due. If that is who created this, and I think it was Nani Codes. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but whoever it was. Now I did an extensive coding back when we had the eclipse on April 8th. Okay. just obviously because of coding and pattern recognition and 48 and oh my goodness, eclipse demolition, just the way my mind thought. I didn't even bring any of that here because that's basically like in the archives now, because this would supersede that. This is incredible. Okay. This right here is incredible. 4/8 was the first eclipse, right? -48, April 4th, 2024. The next eclipse, which is tomorrow, 8/12, think mirror, is 2/18, which is Michael Brian Prossman, 2/18, John F. Kennedy Jr., 2/18, and B MONQEY Q Truther, 2/18, which is just a little one for a joke there for you. And then look at the bottom, right? If you take 8/12, which is the way we read the date now, right? But I think in your country, Stu, you read the date
the correct way.
Huh?
We read it the correct way over here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The month first, right?
No. It's the day first, then the month, then the year. Whereas you're the month, then the day, aren't you?
Okay. So here we look at that, and it's 1/28. The best is yet to come. I mean, how many times before it's mathematically impossible? That's what I ask you. I don't even know what else to say about it other than I think that's who it was, Nani Codes, and just it's absolutely awesome. That right there in the meme world of this movement will be one of the memes that should forever be in the meme hall of fame that we need to start somewhere and have big printed versions of them, or even have them printed in gold tablets and have them in a meme hall of fame. So anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's great. I'll just add to that, because if anyone goes on there, and I posted it on our first video, it's the Carl Looney Drew's Bloodline from House Mathematics. It's such a great article, that is.
There's a link for that too in my website.
Yeah, perfect. And it's staggering how much -48 looks like
Abraham Lincoln,
Kevin McCarthy, isn't it?
And Kevin McCarthy, yeah. But yeah, for sure. Use your own imagination on that one, right?
Yeah,
that's not my story to tell. I think it'll be a story that'll be told someday, and we'll stick with that. But what we were talking about was the rope, right? Giving people rope, giving evil rope. I mean, think about it. We had a president that was dead, and he was our president because a lot of foreign countries and the corruption, that the low-level minions were being given rope, thinking, oh yeah, Biden got in, we won, right? It makes sense. I mean, that's the military operation, right? We don't need to slice it and dice it with all laws and orders and everything else. Because if you dig deep enough and you listen to Derek Johnson on those issues, you'll know that it's real, right? But giving rope is really a something that's gone on, that people have some of the things that maybe not realized. Now, like a trap, right? It's a trap. Give them rope, like set the trap. I think we talked about that last time, Stu, where you were talking, or Elisa was talking about the laptops that were given out for the Epstein file, right? And everybody went in, but a lot of people, like put their own name in there, right? Whether that really happened or not, I don't know. It could have, right? It could have, or it could be part of the whole psyop of disclosure to show the American people that that's what happened, right? Either way, it's a trap to use for disclosure, or a trap that was actually used to catch somebody that was bad. But it could also bring up, that since the mid-'80s, everything punched in online and every picture shared and texted and called and phone calls, it's all recorded anyway, every bit of it. But if someone searches their own name, Q says, how do you inject evidence into court, right? So it's a pretty reasonable question on a committee. If you say to somebody and you can't inject their evidence into a particular case, it'd be pretty nice to say, well, why did you put your name in there? Like, that could lead to discovery. That could lead to, so I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a, thank God. So you get what I'm saying? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, one thing.
Let me just add to that, because we all, those paying attention, we saw a lot of videos and stuff on January after J6 and stuff coming out, and what looked like military men, backpacks that were in there getting all the laptops, sort of various badges on them. We dug all through this at the time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so many traps set. Here's another one for you, and I'll end with a real zinger. But when Trump first had his first cabinet meeting of his first administration, now, I don't know, you guys know that, like, all the new printers, if they're online, they're not mine. Okay. You know what that means? If it's online, it's not mine.
Yeah.
Is that everything that you photocopy and that you scan can be seen by a hacker or whatever. You know that, right? Okay. So during Trump's first administration, everybody got a packet of paper on what what his plans were and what their first staff meeting. Let's say that. Now, we all know about the ink that was on the ballots, right? That we saw on the news. We saw the news article, and it was actually on, I think it was Fox News, Isotopia, whatever, Inc. and Space Force tracked those ballots.
Yeah.
Right. And I think most of the people listening to this remember that. If there's some newcomers.
Steve Pachenik put out a video as well, didn't he, about watermarks on the ballots?
Yeah. So if anybody's new, those watermarks, it's true. It was an ink that was used that's almost like, let's just call it nuclear ink. Let's call it that. And Space Force is able to see that. The technology we have is far beyond what most people could even imagine. Now, the same ink marks were in those packets that he handed out, because you wouldn't want to share something digitally, right? Because even evil knows, like, oh, I'm going to run to Obama's office, or I'm going to run to one of my deep state handlers and show them this packet of Trump's plans, right? First off, most of it on there was probably bullshit. But now that gets tracked. So the scumbag that was screwing and destroying our entire government and country is now watched where he goes with those. If he tries to photocopy them, that same technology was used to sign a red flag in the digital Space Force arena and show who made copies of them. Because if you're given that in a staff meeting and the President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief, says, this is personal information, this is for your use, you're under an NDA and not allowed to speak about this. But now you go and you make a photocopy of it, right? Basically, that's treason. That's treason, just in the fact that you broke your NDA for national security reasons. I don't know how that would ever get sliced out, but that's one trap. Here's another interesting trap, because I've seen people talk about how do they know all these people that are taking adrenochrome? We heard that 3M, Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing, Minnesota, Bemidji, Minnesota, right? That's in Minnesota. Very interesting, especially with ties to Abraham Lincoln, the vampire hunter, because he was hunting people that were drinking blood. But in that patent, we don't know if 3M flipped or not. I don't know. I can't. Yeah. None of us can prove anything, right? But why would you make a patent for adrenochrome? People are like, oh, 3M holds the patent for adrenochrome. No, the psychopaths know that you just torment and abuse somebody so bad to the point that they're right at the moment of death and you take their blood out of them. You don't need a patent for that. However, if the United States military and the commander-in-chief said to 3M, we know you've been putting poisons in your Teflon. We know you've been doing this. You know you've been doing that. We're going to give you an opportunity. We need help. We need you to make a synthetic adrenochrome, and we have this special ink, and we need you to put this ink into the adrenochrome. And then they flood the adrenochrome market after they already cleaned up the tunnels and what was going on with the adrenochrome market, and they put the ink into the synthetic adrenochrome, and all of these scumbags were watched on every point of the planet everywhere they walked. Do you think we could remove evil from the entire realm of Earth.
Yeah.
Pretty reasonable, right? Well, that's what happened.
Yeah, well, good. I've heard stories like that. We were all watching the videos of all these nutters putting out these, well, whether they're playing a part or whether they're actually there, you know, Ellen DeGeneres and all on lockdown, putting out these secret coded messages. We were seeing military reflections in the windows, and you know, yeah.
But what I'm saying is that's how you get them.
Yeah.
None of them escape. That's why no one escapes what is coming. No one. Their punishment, I don't know. If they didn't, you know, hurt a child, if they didn't, I don't know, right? I do know that either way, whether they get executed or they rot in jail, which I hope they don't, because we're not going to have that much taxes anymore, so they might have trouble paying for them. Is that look at it this way? As far as talking about an RV, right, and a revaluation of things, whatever those things might be, has to happen, right? Of gold and silver, the values, it has to happen, right? You can define each category of it all you want. I'm not in this for the money. I've made some investments. Hopefully, if God wants to continue my battle and my journey for what I want to do in the future to honor the particular people that I speak about in the Jews bloodline and honor them in the way of benefiting children, which is what Tracy and I have planned. I really don't want to talk about it right now. As time moves on, I will. Then you have to kind of lost my spot there. Kind of get moving on and on. Talking about adrenochrome in as far as whether they live in purgatory, right, in prison for 50 years until they die, and then God deals with them, right, eternally. God is going to deal with them, and the Bible tells you it'd be better to have a millstone tied around your neck than hurt one of my little ones, or create one of my little ones to stumble. So what I'm saying is the real evil will be executed and God deals with them. That's why the Punisher has all those memes that have come out with the Punisher and says, God's going to deal with you, but we're going to arrange the meeting, right?
Yeah. So
we really have to keep that in mind. But again, another thing is, I really think that we're all going to have the money and the government's not anymore. That we're not going to get our bank accounts flooded with money. We're going to get bonds in a Treasury Direct account. That's the QFS. And those bonds is going to be a portion. That's why they're getting everybody home. Get rid of all the aliens. Get them out. If they're going to come back in and be a permanent resident, then we need to know about it. And they need to go through the normal channels that's been talked about, because then their bond money or whatever needs to come from that other country on the blockchain so that their money comes with them into our treasury. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. And I've said many times as well, when a lot of people say, oh, Nassar was bullshit, but whatever it comes out as, and we're seeing this sort of being drip fed, I've said personally that I believe one of the stipulations of this you will not get any benefit unless you are in the country of your origin.
Yes, absolutely. So that's my point, is that he's giving power back to us, we the people, and the gold. He has the gold, right? Q said, yes, we have the gold. So that goes in the treasury. It doesn't get put under anybody else's name but ours. Those, I mean, if you listen to oh geez, I can't remember her name. The gold lady that is a Trump ally, Judy Shelton. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
She talked about towards 2028, right? There's that 28 number again, that we're going to have gold bonds in the U.S. Treasury. So, you get a bond, right? So each one of us, everything on earth, because God created us and he created the earth and he created all the assets in the earth. He didn't create them for the Rothschilds or Rockefellers. He didn't create them for Pepe Orsini, if he's even still alive, scumbag that he is. It's all of ours, but we're not just going to get like millions in our bank account because we get all the money back from our country, because our country still needs to operate like a business in a divine way. So that money needs to be held in our treasury, but it needs to be in the form of bonds. And when there's a bond, it can pay out at different times. I don't know how it's all going to go, but I'm just encouraging people that, you're going to get back stuff that was stolen from you. We're getting the power back, and it's going to be done, I'm sure, in a just way, because Jesus doesn't make mistakes. So I truly believe that that's what all that means is that, and blockchain will be used, and it'll be fair, and it'll be on digital ledger technology, decentralized systems, which I don't want to get in. A finance show is another whole show I would do with you, Stu.
Yeah.
Just because I believe it ties strongly to the two things we're fighting right now, which is, fake money and children, right? Because something has to help with the monetary system to protect our children. But anyway, just overall, out of traps being set, Wolvie says the RV is going to happen tonight, and Mike Barr says this, and this isn't to badger any of them. I don't know where they're getting their information from. They may believe in their information. It could be a white hat operation. Could be creating people to expose themselves, not them, but people that are flocking to certain areas. I don't know. I just know that we're living through a movie. I know Juan has come out and talked down about certain things. Choose your lane. How much faith do you have? And why did God put you certain places to hear certain things and research certain things that he did, and hold the line. So I don't want to talk any more about it as far as the financial end, but I just want to share a little of it because it ties into so many aspects of what we're living through, obviously, right? I agree with Juan wholeheartedly that, Trump's legacy will be honest and fair elections and honest and fair money. And both those can work perfectly well on a decentralized ledger, especially quantum backed on the blockchain. So that's what I think. I think maybe paper ballots could be the entry ramp to that system. Maybe this is just speculation on my behalf for things that I've researched and different projects that I've researched, is that it's very possible that we do paper ballots with, a little bit of military action there. And it's not going to be in November. So if you're getting your hopes up to vote for one of the corrupt clowns that's going to be in the final cleanup operation, then I don't know what to tell you, but I strongly doubt that there will be a midterm election. I could be 0.1% wrong. And like I said, I'd take mud on my face and I would be man enough to apologize that I was wrong. But I truly believe there will be no midterm election, and that as far as a finalization of a government that's the republic for we the people, I truly believe will be in 28. And I believe that'll be in March, and it'll be when our initial elections were supposed to take place. It lines up with a lot of things spiritually, as far as lining up different timelines and parables, right? And like I said, the 7-year tribulation and all that stuff. And the gematria. I mean, 2028 is 44, 48, right? 48th president, and 28 is Junior. And Q says there's a plan F to Trump. Well, I'd have to think if Junior came out and I don't know, maybe he won't come out as president. Maybe he'll be some kind of different position, votable maybe position. I don't know. Whatever it is, if he comes out and he's voting for something, you think he's going to win?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, that was just...
You get what I'm saying? So,
and some of the younger people might not know who he is, but just him coming out would put a massive healing across the world, wouldn't it? And it would also be a massive vindication for so many of us that have been down this path for a long time.
Absolutely.
And I just want to add as well, Brian, that I think I agree with you that potentially we won't get a midterms, but in the run up to the midterms, we're going to get so much stuff, and it's happening by the day, isn't it? Especially with Fauci and things, all this, and he's been referred now. I mean, someone was down at Forks Knot yesterday, said they were going down. Was that Rand Paul saying they were going down to look at the gold? So that's interesting. We'll see what develops there. But potentially, this will be a paper ballot only 1 day operation.
Yeah, and that's
people on the voting centres marshalling it, whether that's going to be ICE or whatever. But I believe in the future, and whether they are manufacturing Q phones, right, for everyone to everyone around the planet, and RFK Jr. talks about this, that we will be able to vote in time by pressing a button on our phone.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Do you agree with my decision? Yes or no? This policy, yes or no? Yes. 95% of the people say yes, or 95% of the people say no. Okay, we're not doing that. Then we'll change it. And it's going to be for the people.
Absolutely. And personally, I think we're going right from paper to digital, right?
Yeah,
We'll still have paper. We're still going to have paper currency, but primarily digital. I mean, people are like, oh, the mark of the beast. It's like, no, we've been living in the mark of the beast system. I explain what I think. My opinion of that is that we've already been dealing with the short season, right? So we've already been in the beast system. If you can't see that, then go read the Creatures of Jekyll Island. Start there. And I don't say that to be a wise ass. I say that if there's some people that are new and not up to speed, that's a great place to start. But
and if they don't want to read that, go and watch our interview with G. Edward Griffin.
Unbelievably, love that interview. I watched the whole thing, Stu. It was awesome. That's an honor to have him on your show. By the way, he doesn't do many shows, so that was pretty cool. But what I mean is, that we know about that transition from paper to digital, right? Well, it'd be pretty good time to do the final election in paper and do it on the blockchain, right? At the same time. So it'd be a nice, this is working because it checks out, right? Because you're not going to cheat it on the blockchain, because once you do KYC and, your eyes are going to be scanned, or thumbprint, I guess. I don't know. Whatever it's going to be. As long as nothing's being put in my body, we're going to have to deal with that, people. Some people are against it, but you're not scanning my child's, face anywhere. So I'm not saying I agree with that, but we have to have some level of, yes, this is who I am, based just for integrity, right? And for accountability, because if we don't, there's going to be children continuing to be sold. That's it. So let's encourage this system, digital ledger technology, decentralized. I could create my own little bank in a neighborhood that I live, and I could back it by $1 million worth of gold bars, and we could all use that currency to exchange. We don't even need to use anybody else. That's what decentralized is. You could use the XRPL for that, by the way. But I'm just saying, we do have to change. So that would be a great time for maybe some kind of quantum system or blockchain system, and do the paper with the military, and maybe kind of convince, people that it's accurate. I don't know how that'll all go, but I truly don't believe that we'll have an election. But I also think an election that counts, let me say that, like that night at midnight. So maybe we go into the election and boom, fraud is called before any totals are even happening, right? 8 o'clock at night, or I don't know, 6 o'clock could be dangerous, right? So maybe it's 6 o'clock on, November 5th. Is it the 5th this time? I think it is. So 6 plus 5 is 11. It's on the Wizard's hat. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, the third.
Third, right? It's third. So 11.
It's really interesting. I've said this before, that I went to bed one night and all that, and I was just laying there, and I sort of woke up and I was going, 120 days, 120 days. Now, I know I've heard that in the Nasara protocols, that if Nasara is called, it's 120 days. And I got back up and I came back to the computer, and July the 4th, right, when there was meant to be some big reveals that everyone thought, but none of us date fake anymore, till November the 3rd. Between that, exactly 120 days. And I just found that really interesting.
That is really interesting. Now. Absolutely. So is, I don't know what, it would depend on what date that would be triggered, could bring us to March, right? From 11/3 to March. Because you got March, so you got, am I right on that? November, December, January, February, right? 120. So depending if something gets triggered a few days later, I don't know. Who knows? But maybe it's right at the last minute, right? Or maybe it's in the end of October. Or hey, maybe something big happens as far as he signs a national emergency and halts the elections when we're in October, when we're at the event. That'd be kind of crazy, wouldn't it? I don't know. But I just don't see, you can't have an election with the people that are there now.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
it's like a ball team showing up to play a Mets game, and a whole bunch of players that were never hired on the team show up to play the game that night. These people got in fraudulently, and they got to go. So,
yeah,
military's the only way.
November the 3rd till the 3rd of March is 120 days exactly.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. That's my point.
I think we're going to see Trump call a national emergency at some stage. But just one thing I want to say about blockchain and stuff, and people
right there, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, for sure. So there is no doubt that all of that stuff, if you think that you own Bitcoin and you're sitting on an island in the Caribbean somewhere and no one knows what you have, you're wrong. Period. You're wrong. It's not the case. How are they seizing Bitcoin? I mean, it's being put in your face. How are they seizing Bitcoin wallets? How are they doing that? If you don't think that they can seize that stuff under, I would imagine that what they're seizing is in the unsealed indictments, and the unsealed indictments are getting unsealed, and they're being listened to, federal grand juries and whatever, maybe military tribunals, maybe a little of both. Maybe the RICO meets military somehow, which could very well happen, by the way. Then, that if they're seizing those, that means that yours could be taken. Thankfully, the white hats have control of it, and if you're good and didn't do anything bad, yours won't get taken. But
I was just going to ask you that.
Here's the truth. The truth is way more U.S. currency, Federal Reserve note. I don't even like to call it U.S. currency. U.S. toilet paper, let's call it that, has been used to traffic children, sell illegal arms and drugs, and something that people don't even really talk about when they relate those three methods of trafficking. There's actually a fourth one, is our technology. The secrets of our technology is another cartel, another trafficking cartel that was selling those secrets. Is more of the trafficking that has gone on has been used with the US dollar. So anybody that's saying, I wouldn't own Bitcoin because it was used to traffic children, let me just tell you something. Don't ever hold another US Federal Reserve note in your pocket then, because that's blood money. Every bit of it is engineered and constructed on a platform of trafficking. Us, children, everybody. So when you read Trump's executive orders on human trafficking, that applies to all of us, because we and our monies were trafficked on the stock market between different countries. So we were, trafficking in your own country, let alone through different central banks. Every time you ping or take money out and it goes to a different central bank in your country, you're being trafficked. As soon as it leaves your country, you're being trafficked foreignly, foreign and domestic. So everything has been that way. I don't own Bitcoin because it's slow, it's junk, and they call it digital gold. But there's no gold to back it to be called to show that it's, you know what I mean? So, whatever, if something's going to 10x, you would rather buy something very, very cheap and get more of it than that. But my theory to that is in line with yours, Stu. Or it could even been someone bad that created it and they let them create it. DARPA, I believe DARPA created it. And that it was a DARPA project, and so was Fakebook. So it could be a bad element of it with good element as well. I know
whoever created it, they knew they could track it. So
yeah, exactly. Whoever created it could have been under evil intent, and just like JFK said, by invasion, right? Not by infiltration, not invasion. So if you got anybody that knows in the computer world or digital world, if you have a team that's working on a project, you could have 50 to 100 people, maybe more, depending on the size of the project. So if you have a couple good guys planted in there, right, that would be infiltration instead of evasion. And you let DARPA, dark hats, create that situation because you're sitting and watching the code be written. So you have absolutely 100% a way to build another system to completely track it and watch it and follow it since its creation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts on Bitcoin. You know, I think it'll stick around. I mean, Barron Trump, that's another thing we could talk about if you got a little more time or no?
Yeah, I've got some time. Yeah,
Okay.
we've got 2 more slides of yours. Do you want to go through those today? I do want to talk about the hotel for a little bit as well.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, let me just tell you this real quick. I'll try and make it quick. So, Eric Trump starts a data center, minting American Bitcoin, and a lot of people are like, what the hell's going on? So, you have a supply of Bitcoin, right? An ultimate supply. So let's finish those up and let's let somebody good do that, right? But also, that was right before Trump, right after Trump came out and said, this is another subject I'd like to talk about, is data centers, but I won't get into all of it, is that electric has to be produced in the data centers and it has to be backfed into the grid, right? To help lower people's prices on energy, which makes total sense because you can't just go to free energy. The world would crumble if we stopped using power plants and power line workers, and it has to be gradual, and it's going to be gradual. But it would make sense that Eric Trump would own a center that's possibly a data center, because it is a data center if it's mining Bitcoin, and also experimenting or the first final phase of what was already experimented and implemented into a data center to check and see how that power, the amount of power that's being produced, to be put back into the grid. So that's what I believe the whole psyop of Eric Trump and Bitcoin is. And like I said, if it's going to be saved for good, that's great for whoever's interested in it. That's why you have 10,000 different flavors of tea. It's just not my tea. But if we can save it, I'm all for it, because there's a lot of good people that are invested in Bitcoin. I don't want to see Bitcoin crash. You got XRP maxis out there saying Bitcoin, it's got to trash to zero. And Dan Penna, Dan Penna didn't know about Q. So whatever he said, I'd take with a grain of salt. And that's just me. He was telling you stuff based in the existing structure of where we were, and that's not where we are. That is not where we are. So I don't want to see people get hurt. If someone has a few Bitcoin and like the Bible says, to have an inheritance for your children's children, I want those people to remain to have that. So I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see the stock market crash. I don't want to see Grandma Smith lose what she made, and be in despair. You got people out there that they're like meditating and really like trying to pray this stuff in. Come on, people. This could have been done a long time ago if that's the route was going to be taken. I believe Trump is a stable coin genius act. He's a stable genius, and he has this as geniuses behind him in the military. And on a business perspective, he knows it. And on a war fighting perspective, the generals know it, and he knows it because he's from a family that that has significant generals, not just one of them. So I want to see things happen too, and I have seen it happen. I want to see some public stuff, but I also want to see Mrs. Smith be safe in the stock market. I know it's going to take a little bit of a hit, especially if you listen to Juan. Makes perfect sense about the housing, the bond market, because of the school bonds, so property taxes and all that stuff. But ultimately, I think that this is just what Negative 48 called it right from the get-go, and that was a glorious demolition. In order for it to be a glorious demolition, it has to be good in some way, right? It has to be a demolition, but it has to be good in some way. And if you're one of the people that's promoting the bullshit about that the stock market's going to go to zero and this is going to happen and we're not going to have any gas and we're going to have no lights for 10 days or 30 days and you better buy your Patriot generator and all that stuff, there's already Q posts that told us that stuff's not happening. So you need to get back into your Q posts. I'm not going to label them all for you right now because I didn't lay this show out that way. But there is Q posts that tells you to ignore that. There is. They're in there. So anyway, rant over. I'm just I want
that was-
everybody to be on the same. Let's manifest abundance and freedom for all. Let's just do that, because that would include people not getting wrecked on the stock market. I believe the people that need to be wrecked on the stock market are going to be QFS, NSA. They're going to be wrecked. They're going to be wrecked so bad. Let me date back to what I talked about, is that a lot of these people, that even people that committed treason with election fraud, like Ruby, whatever her name was in Georgia, these people at a lower level, if they get locked up for 20 to 30 years, think about the technologies that are coming out, the investments that we will be able to invest in new companies, and the overall industrialization that we're going to be going through over the next 10 years. Those people are going to be way behind. So they're going to get exactly what they deserve. And they're going to come out of prison in 20 to 30 years, maybe with a whatever, if there is going to be a UBI or a large UBI like Elon talks about, they're going to miss the ones that tried to stop the third revolution, or maybe it's the 5th, 10th, 100th, 17th, the 17th revolution. The ones that tried to stop it are now going to miss it.
Yeah.
People aren't looking at all of the facts, and if they didn't hurt a child, whatever, and they just committed treason against their country, not just, but if they committed treason against their country, that could warrant death too. But whatever that level is, I know that the JAG is going to do a very good job with that. I trust them. They're divinely led, right? Because they're protecting sworn oath to God to protect the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic. So I trust them for that. But it's just another perspective, is that that's suffering, right? I mean, if somebody committed those heinous things, then that's a pretty shitty thing, right? Because I believe with the new treasury and us all having bonds and some stuff coming back that was taken from us, especially if you factor in the human trafficking, we are going to have the ability to invest on a tokenized digital ledger, blockchain-based tokens for different companies that are going to lead us into modernization that I don't think any of us could even imagine. So what a wonderful time to be alive. And
let me just ask you then, because we've been told in Q drops, scare necessary event. Some people say that might be COVID, whatever. But Juan's been talking about a gut punch, a near-death experience, a scare necessary event, a precipice moment. Now, we have discussed quite a lot that maybe you would need something like this to wake these last normies up, but it will not be a permanent thing. You've got to eradicate all the funds of these serpents, of course. But do you think the banks will go down for like a period of 3 days just to jolt people awake?
I think as far as maybe a cyber attack, that they can't get access to it, I don't think they're going to do it where somebody logs into their bank account and it shows zero. It could be.
I just think everything will stop working. Right?
Yeah. People are saying
that will be a thing for everyone as well. That we all say cash is king, and it has been for so long. And this is why they've tried to eradicate it. Maybe that'll be just a little 3 days like that will maybe stop people relying on this bit of plastic all the time. And
that could happen, a halt. But like you said, and I agree with you, we're not going to see people's bank accounts go to zero. We're not going to have people jump off buildings, right? I mean, and commit suicide. I don't see that. But, I've drawn my line in the sand. And if you look at my website and what I talk about, it's obvious that you know what my line is. And that is the ultimate, this entire movie that we're living through, right? Or even in the public eye of the Trump administration, from his first administration, there's like, you could even find a normie, right? And that has no idea what's going on. Even maybe somebody that voted for, a dead president, and say, wow, look at that. Oh, wow, Melania's wearing Tiffany blue. And oh, wow, that's like the color of the dress that Jackie wore. And like, wow, did you know that JFK, he tried to send money right to the Treasury and get rid of the Federal Reserve? And what the heck is Trump doing with this guy percent? Like, there's just little things that you could talk about, but it validates my belief, and this is my truth, and no one's going to change my mind on it, is that the Trump presidency is an absolute direct mirror of the Kennedy administration. So if you look at aspects of the Kennedy administration, we know, right, like we are going back to a treasury dollar, US Treasury note. We have to, or we're all done, right? So we might as well just find another Onassis island to go live on, and we can live there together, because it has to happen. And I believe it is. But if you also look at what was one of the biggest things, I wish I was alive. You know, fun fact, this ring right here was my grandfather's, and he voted for JFK, and it slid across the ballot. So that's on my hand every day. But is that the Cuban Missile Crisis was, one of maybe, I don't even know, because there's so many people that don't even remember, or the people that were old enough to responsibly remember what was really going on during the Kennedy administration would be like a 30 or 40-year-old, right? Or our age, they're gone, right? So we do have younger population, older people now that were very young back then. So I don't know, what that really was like. We could just read history and news about it. What was that really like, the Cuban Missile Crisis? I think it was the United States and people of this entire side of the world shitting their pants, right, over nuclear weapons. And I don't know, right? I don't know if you've ever talked to anybody, Stu, that does, but that sounds like a pretty good scare, necessary event. In some ways,
one talks about a Cuban Missile Crisis all the time.
Yeah, and I hear him say that, and I'm not saying that because Juan said it. I mean, that's honest to God, I'm not. I'm saying it because of my research in mirroring the Kennedy administration to what's going on now. And, 35 and 45, 3 plus 5 is 8, and 4 plus 5 is 9, and 9 and 8 is 17. By the way, our room number total 17 that we just checked into. Crazy. But you know what I mean? So it's definitely a reflection of it, So I'll stand again, and I will say that JFK and his son are president and vice president of our republic, and that Trump is the supreme commander of this entire operation, and that he was for a short time president of a defunct corporation.
Yeah.
And that's my final say on it. Even anybody else that has information, whatever, I'm stubborn. I do like listening to everybody. I'm careful with the information I put in. The eyes are the window to the soul. I'm careful with what I read because of my studies, and I try and keep out the noise. But I truly believe that is the situation. Yeah. And for sure, Kim Clement prophesized about 2 presidents. Have you ever heard that prophecy?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Kim Clement didn't prophesize about a dead man who they were going to call president and a president. He said there would be 2 presidents. So I believe that JFK has been running a shadow presidency, which is the Republic, with JFK Jr. as his VP. Whether even JFK Jr. bounced to VP behind the scenes of the corporation or not, I don't know. But I focus on the Republic side of it, and that is absolutely the administration that has been running behind the scenes that Kim Clement was talking about.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll just go through your last 2 slides then, and then we'll have a chat about the hotel.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted that was just a little fun I wanted to send you, because we talked about that on the last show. Hang on a second here. My glasses just popped apart. So the 13 and 1 that I talked about is the 13 bloodlines and the 1, which is the Drews. So John F. Kennedy, 131, right? 13 and 1, 131. And the Drews star. So the Drews star is 165. It's in your face, 165. And I believe that a lot of the it's in your face 165s that we learned and heard about from our legend Gematria General, Michael Brian Prosper, aka Negative 48, aka Patrick, aka JFK Jr., aka Jack, aka a lot of other people, was mainly pointing to this, right? We know that he was the one. We know that Patrick was the one that came forward to teach his bloodline with Sabrina Gal on Sacred Blue Tent, and with many others, some women that didn't stay along for the whole situation, some that did. But anyway, that was just a little bit fun. I wanted to show you. What was the other one that I had sent you, Stu? I forget what it was now. Okay, this one was the Economist, right? Here's just a crazy thing. This applies a little bit to what you know about, Stu, and Brexit. You know a little bit about Brexit?
I'll do a reasonable amount about Brexit.
Okay. So, in The Economist, here's the wall chart that they posted, right? The world of 2020. Trump Brexit, and then we got Trump exit, right? We just hope that that's a part of the operation and not something bad, which I am assured that it would be part of the operation if something like that was to happen. But if you zoom in a little bit, and you do the gematria on Trump exit, it's 47, right? That's in reduction is 47. So he's the 47th president. So a little crazy there. Brexit 78, Kennedy 78, 78 mirrored is 87, truth is 87. We all remember the Love and Marriage song, right? Can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
I think that might apply in this situation. So we just need to pray through that. But does the other leave 187? The Last Dance, friends, 187. Truth is revealed, 187. Decode Jesus is alive, 187. So we need to pray about that. But, scare, period, necessary event. If it's not something like a Cuban Missile Crisis, then I go back to
scares in kill brackets, isn't it? It's scare kill brackets.
Kill brackets. So then I go back to my arm on my glasses just broke. So if they're a little crooked, folks, sorry, that's why. So the other thing is, in mirroring the Kennedy administration, what else could mirror it that could be a scare event if it's not a Cuban Missile Crisis style event? What else could it be? What else happened during the Kennedy administration on 11/22/1963? So
assassination.
That's right. So, I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up because it's important to talk about, right? This is a military operation. I solemnly swear, as God is my witness, I pray for Donald Trump, who I believe is Patton Jr., and his family every single night, every single day. I pray for them. And when I do Bible studies and devotions at nighttime with my little 11-year-old King Julian, I call him. His name is Julian, so I call him King Julian. And he prophesizes to me about several things too, which is another mind melter. But anyway, we pray for him every night, that for his safety. We've been told by Q that he's completely insulated.
I've just got that up, Brian, because I wanted to say that if we do see Trump assassinated, be mindful. He told us early on in 2017 in Q drops 4 and 6.
Yep.
POTUS is 100% insulated. Any discussion suggesting he's even a target is false.
Nonsense. Exactly. So, I believe that. I believe absolutely that he is. I believe that we haven't even seen him in quite a while, very long time actually. But
not since the Whirlpool speech.
Yeah, I think the Whirlpool speech was. Well, I don't. That may not be the last time we saw him.
No. I think he's been out, and I think Trump in certain positions. I mean, we saw the videos coming out of him, during that time, and the sort of the background was moving, and we were all talking. He's on a submarine, or he's on a ship, or something like that. And I do think he has to come out to do certain things, potentially like sign executive orders and.
Right. That's why I say.
But I don't. Not necessarily everything we're being seeing on the TV is him sitting in the White House anyway. You know, a lot of this could be filmed on military bases and things, you know, where he is 100% isolated.
Correct. That's exactly what I was just going to say, Stu, is the fact that physically, him somewhere physically, the real one, no. Sorry, hasn't happened. Have we seen him digitally while someone else appeared physically at that location? Did we see him digitally on a video signing executive orders? The real? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we're still in the corporation. I think it's still the death of it, because until we have an election and inauguration for the Republic, there's still a place for the corporation as it bleeds a painful death, right? As you file for bankruptcy and you go through the bankruptcy proceedings. And I think that could still actually be going on, because until its final death blow, it still exists on some, you know, minute amount. So I believe that the digital version we've seen in videos and stuff, there's possibility that has been, you know, Patton Jr. in my eyes. But I do also believe that the Whirlpool thing, I believe there was 17 boxes behind him. I mean, it was.
Oh yeah, it was classic, and I watched that, and it was one thing that really stumped me, and it didn't stump me. It did for a day. He said, "You might not see me for a while. I've been upsetting some really important people." Blah blah blah, and then I thought, oh, he's going to go off. That's when I was thinking we might see the storm and all this. Anyway, a day or two later, he was back, and I was going, hold up a minute. He's away for a while. What are you doing now? And all that. And I've always thought that was potentially, it may even be happening, you know, before that, but potentially at that moment, that's when they decided to extract him, and we have to keep him safe.
Yeah, I mean, let you know, there's so many different ways of you know, remember the meme that he posted with the wild cards, right? The Uno wild cards. You know, I believe that he has so many cards that, you know, maybe every deck of Uno cards that ever came out of the factory are all wild cards, and he holds them all. Like, because, I mean, you could go 22nd Amendment. You know, the 22nd Amendment is about as valid as the 16th Amendment. That was a waiver, a voluntary waiver that George Washington signed to only allow 2 terms for a president. So that was never properly ratified. And it was signed in like 1947, I think. Does that year sound familiar? And it was not properly done. So term limits were to be on the House and the Senate, and they were never to be on the president. The president could be the president his entire lifetime, but there would still need to be elections, right? Because if something wasn't looking good and we wanted to vote him out, we vote him out. But he would be eligible for as many elections as he wanted. That's one way. The second way is that Trump never conceded, period. He never conceded. And the other way, so I don't know how they're going to play this out, you know, optically. None of us do. But the other way is that he handed over to the military. And then, you know, when in March of, I think it was March 13th in 2020. Don't quote me on the day. It was March of 2020. I think it was March. Yeah. He declared war, right? He said, I'm a wartime president because of China, right? China with a Y, because it's in Ukraine. So he declared that. So he's a wartime president. If he's a wartime president and under continuity of government, you halt elections. And until that war is resolved, you're still the president. So even in that scenario, this is his first term.
Yeah, and also,
and I agree with Derek about 45-48. Absolutely, that's the military operation of the time frames that those presidencies were supposed to be, right? 45, 46, 47. So that's that operation. But I truly believe that, you know, he handed over to the military, and then the generals and admirals, as long as 5 from each department or category, vote him in. He's the commander in chief. So
yeah, because I mean, he also says, doesn't he, that when he got shot in the ear in the Butler, he was talking about the chart on the big screen, and that big screen has got an arrow. You know, Trump left office, and he says, you know, and I think that's April the 1st. Right?
April 1st, yeah, 2020.
Yeah, he always talks about this date, but then you've got to remember as well, in COVID, when General Milley came in and said, we are going to war against the cartels, this was, you know, you could see the military operation. Anyone thought they were talking about COVID there, right, is barking up the wrong tree. A mile away.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. And on the bottom of that card that you're talking about, it was the very card that he was holding up when they had the whole shot in the ear thing.
Yeah.
Then on there, it says it has that date.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've talked about that a lot. I'll tell you what, Brian, we could talk for hours and hours, but we're going to have a regular show now. So this will be.
Yeah, sounds good.
Right. Tracy sent me a couple of photos here. And this a couple of videos in this. Obviously, we played this one before with Mark and the speakers, but we'll just have a quick look at these.
Let's check them out.
Hold up a minute. I don't know what's happening there. Yes, I do. I pressed that on the wrong screen. Bear with me.
What is this? I was going to say, what is that one picture?
So let me just say, this is the Awakening Summit that's coming up. You're there now, and you and Tracy took a couple of videos, didn't you? So this is where we're going to be hosting the summit, and it is beautiful, Brian, isn't it?
Yeah, it is absolutely beautiful. That's the beach right there, obviously.
Yep, superb. 29 speakers. And this is another video.
Yeah, this is from our room, right where I'm behind. That's my back, right, but directly behind me.
Nice.
Couple of chemtrails in the sky there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah, listen, I've been saying that for a long time.
Yep.
That's a great meeting space area. They're going to have tables set
Oh,
up
wait, I
out
didn't
there
see-
on the terrace out there for us.
Oh, that's behind the meter, the room.
Yes.
Nice.
Beautiful. Everyone meet Tracy. Hey, Trace.
Oh, I know you can see. There she is. There you are. Yeah.
Yeah, we can see you.
This is my bride. Everybody, been together for 32 years, so long time.
And she is an integral part of the Awakening Summit organisational committee. Six of us have been doing an awful lot this last month or so,
Yep.
haven't we? But yeah, this looks stunning.
Just a few sneak peek pictures.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place, and
It's a great venue.
if you're coming for the summit, which I hope you are, if you're listening to this, stay a little longer. Stay for whatever. Make a little vacation out of it, because the little town here is really beautiful. I've never been here. I live in Florida. We've been all over the place, but I've never been to this specific little beach town area. And it's beautiful. There's tons of restaurants and shops and little trolleys like you just saw. It's absolutely really is beautiful. So,
Yeah, beautiful. So this is the website, theawakeningsummit.org. Web Pillar and A is our platinum sponsor at the moment. And then if I just go on to the Clearwater one, there's so much on this website, and go and look for yourselves. But Donna's the host, obviously. Elisa, Mark, and myself will be emceeing. Yo, what's up? And yeah, we've got some amazing speakers: Dr. Lee Merritt, Ricardo Bosi, Dylan Lewis Monroe, Tom Althouse, Scott Mackay, Brian MONQEY, your man there, Mark Messina, Dr. Scott Young, Michelle Peterson, Kathy O'Brien, Laura Worley, Laura Eisenhower, Lisa Schermerhorn, Sebastian Martin, Chris O'Connor, Sherry Divband, Derek Johnson, David Sorensen, and Vandersteel, who's on our Monday Respect show next Monday. We had Christy Hutchinson on yesterday, great show. Ali Hopper, Dr. Jared Sadowski, Ellen Papa, Lewis Herms, Tina and Baz, from Mark, MONQEY, Dave News Treason, and Sasha Stone. So
Great
that
lineup.
is a pretty decent lineup. We've got a shop on there as well with all the different various merch, but you can take your time, just go in there and have a look. We've got a nice design on the t-shirt with an outline of Florida and all the speakers on it. So, you know, and various items on there. But yeah, you can get all your tickets on there, and it's amazing. The ticket, let me just show you the ticket prices, because there's a lot.
American flag bag.
Yeah, there's a lot of events like this, and some of them are charging $600-700. You know what I mean? But for 3-day pass, $247 is great, and the VIP is double. You get a dinner included with all the speakers. You get a swag bag. If you go in the shop, you get a tote bag, an Awakening t-shirt, a hat, notepad of your choice as you buy your ticket. But yeah, everything's on there. Absolutely brilliant. We hope to see as many there as possible, because it's going to be a wonderful event, October the 16th to 18th.
Yep, gonna be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah.
Great lineup of speakers. You know, some people if some people, as far as speakers, don't resonate with you, that doesn't take out the fact that the ones that do. So I encourage everybody to come out. And like I said on our last podcast, especially if you've never been to one, you don't know the feeling of being at one. It really is awesome to be around such like-minded people, and in the meet and greet, dinner and everything else, you can come and meet all of us, the speakers, and just the overall temperature of people that are there and talking openly and freely and meeting new people. Because as we move on in this Great Awakening, there's going to be many projects and many things that are going to be happening in different states. So it's really good to get out, learn the people that you're listening to, shake a hand in physical form, and you're not just following some ghost that's doing a podcast. Excuse me. So it's, you know, it's beneficial as far as that goes. That's what started my journey. And that was one of the biggest reasons that I had to go to Dallas, because I had to meet these people and I had to be part. I put myself out there, right? So everybody needs to put themselves out there somehow. And if you can afford it and it's in your budget, it'd be a really great way to put yourself out there and gain some knowledge and help wake people up with that.
Yeah,
knowledge.
exactly. And I'd just like to say as well, although the VIPs get a little extra, and we have on the Saturday night, we're having dinner with the speakers, there's going to be a meet and greet on the Thursday night, I believe, and it's, you know, just a little bit more. But if you do come and buy a cheaper ticket and stay at the hotel, we're all going to be mingling about anyway at a certain time.
Right.
Aren't we? And it's none of that us and them bullshit. It is
where we go one, we go all, and no one of us is more important than the other.
Yeah, and anyone that can't afford it or can't make it, there's going to be a 3-day virtual pass as well. That you'll be able to watch it live, and we don't know the price yet, but I imagine it will be about $40, something like that.
It's going to be $48.
$48.
Yeah, we just said it.
Yeah, well, that's a great number, isn't it?
48.
All the numbers.
Wait a minute. Can you see my finger? Let me see. Over here.
Yeah.
$48.
Yeah.
$48.
Exactly. Well, if you look at all the stuff in the shop, the $494 for the VIP, there's your 17. 247 was half of that. Look at all the items in the shop. You know, they all add up to 17s and stuff. Everything's a number, because we're pushing that positive. Where we go one, we go all out there constantly.
That's right. And we're putting our signature on all of it, which is 17.
Exactly. And anyone that knows or is awake out there, which you all are in this chat and watching this, pretty much, is the fact that we are all seeing so many synchronicities now that you just cannot look away from it anymore. And this is, you know, this is God's hand in this, guiding us along.
Amen.
You know,
amen, brother, for sure.
Exactly
No
that.
doubt.
Brian, thank you very much. Lovely to see you for a little short period there, Tracy. Elisa, if you're still listening in the background, hope you're okay, sweetheart. And everyone in the chat, we love you all. Where we go one, we go all. Brian will be back on for starting every 2 weeks September the 4th, and we'll have loads more to chat about then. And
sounds good. God bless everybody.
I've got another video from Tartanium because he's just smashing out loads of these videos on Twitter, and I just like playing them as an outro. Excellent. Take care, guys. We'll see you later. Thanks,
Sounds
bye.
good.
Anonymous lives in the dark. One letter was the spark. Q team rising from the very first post. The clock began to tick. Clues stacked in layers, future proving past. Quick storm on the horizon, clouds starting to break. Dark to light transition, no more time to fake. Trust the plan repeated, every drop a new key. Patriots standing ready for what they couldn't see. Nothing can stop what's coming, written clear and bold. Enjoy the show, stories yet untold. Q-team rising from the shadows to the light. Where we go on, we go through the darkest night. Q-team rising, the awakening takes flight. Storm is here, the truth breaks through. We're standing in the fight. Where we go on, we go on. Hold the line, stay the course. Q-team rising, never lose the force. Breadcrumbs scattered careful, every poster map. Great awakening rising, no more living in the trap. Military moves in silence, just pieces aligned. Justice on the horizon, crossing every line. Hillary mentioned early, sorrow threads appear. Cabal webs unraveling year after year. Q drops keep on landing, coded for the ones who see. From the board to the streets, the plan was meant to free. Q-team rising from the shadows to the light. Where we go on, we go through the darkest night. Q-team rising, the awakening takes flight. Storm is here, the truth breaks through. We're standing in the fight. Where we go on, we go on. Hold the line, stay the course. Q-team rising, never lose the force. Future proves the past, every claim that stood the test. Darkness meets the dawn, no more secrets left to rest. Trust the plan, stay patient, the drops were never wrong. From the first Q message, the team has grown strong. Q-team rising, Q-team rising, Q-team rising from the shadows to the light. Oh, where we go on, we go through the darkest night. Q-team rising, the awakening takes flight. Storm is here, the truth breaks through. We're